jump ball draft recap special, on the jump recap special of the draft. Who had the better outfit? Give it to me. What do you like? Go.
Man, I'm going with Shai.
All the way. Look at that tie. I like the tie. I wouldn't like
that was a one
tie.
Coordinate.
Coordinate.
Little mushroom belt. Mushroom shoes.
He went to an upholsterer. Is what he did.
So Trae Young looks a little bit like Little Lord Fauntleroy.
Oh, come on. The shorts are in, right? After all the guys wore it during the playoffs?
5 years from now, people are not going to remember the Trae Young shorts. They're going to remember that Shai wore that out.
Coordinate. The belt.
Yeah, everything, yeah.
That was like my sofa.
Okay, get rid of that sofa, all right?
It had plastic on it.
All right.
Wait. By the way, Trae Young, if you're going to wear the shorts, extra lotion, my man. Extra lotion.
Wow.
I detect hints of ashiness over there.
Well, he will definitely
Welcome to the NBA, young man.
I was going to say, if there is anything he will learn in an NBA locker room.
Lotion.
And
oh, my gosh.
By the
secret
way,
deodorant.
By the way, I'm not finishing that sentence because that would get aggregated somewhere. But you people know what I mean. Are we going to move on now? Yes, we are.
Yes,
Producer
okay,
Danny.
wait.
Danny's like, oh, yes, we are. Once you start talking about lotion, Producer Danny gets very interested in moving on. Bigger surprise, Trae Young at number 5 or Michael Porter Jr. at number 14. And again, don't pay attention to the hats. The hats are misleading. I want to go start with Fram.
I think the bigger surprise is Michael Porter Jr. because although medical trumps talent, I was surprised that somebody in that 8, 9, 10, 11 range didn't reach up and take him because he's a top 3 talent. And then once you get past the top 5 or 6 or 7 in this draft, you might as well just roll the dice. And he dropped all the way to 14. So if this gamble works out for Denver, they've got themselves a great young player at a spot that they didn't expect to get him.
I mean, you figured at least the Clippers. So sorry. With the back-to-back 12 and 13 pick, I mean, that's almost like you're getting a free, right?
Yeah, I think it's this. I agree because it's just franchise talent could be franchise player. I think the surprising part was we all knew about the medicals and all that, but now we're hearing all this back talk a little bit about attitude and some other problems. I didn't hear a lot of that pre-draft, and it always comes out this way because you've got to explain why
you didn't take a pick. By the way, he was in surgery 56 minutes after his college debut. How much attitude did he have time for? Like, what was his attitude with what?
I think if you go looking through the dossiers, you're going to find attitude problems in a lot of people at various moments. But when the medical staff puts a red flag on the player,
that's it.
If you trust your medical staff, you got to say no. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah. But I don't know. Everybody has different interests, right? The medical staff, as you said, people could get fired or not fired. The medical staff, certainly, if you pass on a guy who turns out to be okay, they're not getting fired for that. The medical staff, if you say draft this kid and he doesn't get on the board.
But I think you can still walk away, even if he turns out to be the best player in this draft. You say, well, how did you guys skip over him? Well, his medicals were terrible. You can still say that. I think the Trae Young thing is way more surprising. I don't think any of us saw him going that
as high as 5.
We were talking about should the Knicks maybe roll the dice on him at 9. And so him jumping up there for Atlanta, not only to take him at 5, but to trade away from 3, which was Doncic.
Sure.
You know, in the previous segment, Jackie said, well, why are we acting like Trae Young is a surer thing than Doncic is? If you have questions about Doncic's ability at this level, surely those same questions about defense, about athleticism, apply even more to Trae Young. So the fact that he went top 5, I was shocked by that.
But it's protected because you got another first-round pick. So even if Trae Young doesn't work out perfect, they traded for him.
Who guys pulled off the better draft night trade? The Mavericks trading for Luka Doncic, or the Clippers who traded 2 second-round picks for? You do it.
That's easy. Clippers. Clippers gave up 2 second-round picks. They ensured that they got a guy they loved in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's 6'6", and then they drafted one of the most underrated players in this draft, Jerome Robinson, a professional scorer out of Boston College.
Professional scorer.
Professional scorer. They needed help.
Doc Rivers says that all the time.
And guess who took him?
Yeah, there you go.
Professional.
Little scorer. There you go.
Professional scoring when he sees it. But 2 6'6" young guards. in that backcourt needs help, obviously.
Yeah.
Although I love Patrick.
I love Patrick
I was
Beverley.
going to say, how awkward was it?
might be
He's
watching.
sitting there with Patrick.
No, I thought
I
it was
love Patrick
great.
Beverley.
He handled
himself
it
very well.
Absolutely, we have absolutely.
He knows that
but
young
he
Rook is going to show up to camp and
And he
find
will
out, hey,
destroy him.
welcome.
Destroy him.
What
in
about the
training
trade
camp.
that Philly made where they got Zhaire Smith, who they liked? Maybe not, he's not the player Mikal Bridges is, but they got a guy that they liked and
Miami.
picked up an unprotected 2021 Miami pick to move back 6
Do we know
spots.
it's unprotected? It's previously unprotected? Is it currently unprotected?
Boy,
How
you
protected
like
is
the
it?
teacher. You
I
like the
just
teacher.
want to know. Well,
Show your work. Show your work, Ryan.
That's a fair point, Rachel. I guess that's true. I'll just sit quiet.
I just want to know. Does he have like a Brinks truck near him? Are there 2 armed guards? How protected is the pick?
Well, I mean, this is a pick that in a couple years that could end up being like, oh my gosh, do you remember back that night they made that Mikal?
If it's fully
Who did they trade him for? I can't even remember, but I got this unprotected pick.
It reminds me of the Otis Thorpe trade that ended up being Darko Milicic, right? Like you make a deal and it's like, yeah, so what? And it keeps pushing back, and then when it finally arrives, it's like, how the Pistons, who just won a championship, get the number 2 overall pick?
and what did they do with it?
Yeah. So
Well, that's not relevant, Rachel.
But even the Brooklyn Boston pick, like we knew that was.
we
a
knew that
crazy
on the
trade.
night it
We
happened.
knew the night it happened, but now when it's all said and done, it's just incredible. The haul.
Well, I mean,
The
but
haul
that
is
speaks
incredible.
to Danny Ainge, though, right? Because it's a perfect example. What did the Pistons do when being a pick that turned into the number 2 pick?
Yeah.
In a year where they had
that
no
wasn't a
right
good
being
draft.
anywhere in the top 15.
That wasn't a good
yeah,
draft.
there's
Who
no
was
way.
available?
Who was available with the number 2 pick? I don't know.
Rachel, you know what they did? They won the title the next year.
They did, and I guess.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. Darko's rookie year.
Oh, that is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
2004.
That's right,
But you
Darko.
are
Darko
talking-
has a ring.
Darko was.
Darko has a ring.
But you know what?
Hey, Darko was great in the playoffs, wasn't he?
But you know what? This is 6
Good night.
degrees of Danny Ainge because he made it possible by trading them Rasheed Wallace.
Absolutely.
Yes, they did.
That is
It all
absolutely
comes
true.
back to Danny Ainge.
All you know about
Back
Darko
to Danny
Milicic
Ainge.
is didn't he break his wrist in game and when in the night they won the title? They're all drinking champagne and he's got his wrist in ice. He broke his wrist. the
That's
night they won
right.
the title.